Yeah, let's go ahead and share. Good evening. Let me do this. Let me share this. Mm, Let me share this. Let me share. Let me share. What else? We're gonna start in a minute. Just give me a minute. We're gonna talk Cameroon. We're gonna talk football in its entirety. What actually went wrong. World Cup 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers. Cameroon just ended streak of, I think it's a series of poor runs, in my opinion. 3 games with poor runs. Even the game that they won against, who did we play? The game we won 2-0. Mauritius. It was a poor game. 2 long passes, and then we scored. I think what's happening to Cameroon is that we have failed to recognize that we are not consistent and we have not drawn lessons from the past, from our past struggles, from past losses. What we have done is that when we were mediocre, we came out saying that at least we beat Brazil, although we did not even make it to the next round. Now it's a comparison between Rigobert Song and Mark Brace. Although, in my opinion, you can do those analysis, but if we want to do a deep dive analysis of what is wrong with our football, we must not end on individuals. We must go above and beyond and talk about our football, talk about football structures, talk about football cultures. Because if we are not going to the World Cup today, it will be because of a failed football culture. And the reason I talk about a failed football culture is because I'm looking at the bigger picture. We have talked about the fights between FIFA Foot and the ministry. It means the organization as a whole is not looking into one direction. That's one of the problems. Another problem is Mark Brace. He struggles when we've played countries like Eswatini, when we travel. Another one is the back office. Same organization that I was talking about, the Minister and Fika Food. The fights that I've seen our teams go to South Africa just 24 hours before the game, go play in Kenya 24 hours before the game, go play in Uganda. I think we went to play in Uganda. I mean, all those things, you know, because football is not only 11 players on the pitch, it's not only 23 players that make the team, it's not only the coach, it's everything together. That's football. And when you talk about a healthy football culture, you have to talk about grassroots football, the league, right up to the national team. For those who watch the game today, let's start with the game today. Look at your starting 11. Tell me the style that Cameroon went to play. I mean, if anyone can tell me, I want this to be interactive. I wish I could have someone where we can go back and forth because I don't want to. I want a conversation. I want also have a conversation because if someone can tell me the style that Cameroon played today and the players that we actually did have, I don't know if Jerome, if you are in a position because Jerome, go, I know that you like football, you watch football, you might have your own opinions. I want someone I want to have a conversation with someone where we have opposing, you see, opinions, where we can talk because a lot of people, I saw some kids after the game shouting, Mark Breeze power, Mark Breeze dual party. Of course, it could be one of the problems. But I assure you, Rigobert song was taken out, Mark Breeze was born in. Same problem. If Mark Breeze goes, another coach comes in without us looking at the root problems of why we haven't been consistent because it's not the first time. I mean, we went to Qatar. How did we go to Qatar? Through a playoffs, right? Tomorrow, Cameroon can still be through the playoffs and we can still make it to the World Cup. Win a game, and people will start saying that, oh yeah, at least we won a game or blah blah blah. I mean, that's not, long term. It's not sustainable. That's not sustainable. We need people with a vision. For those who know football, even countries like Hungary. Hungary had played football. Hungary was one of the top football nations before. Uruguay. Uruguay has won 2 World Cups. Okay. So there comes a time where other nations will wake up and play better football. However, in order to keep yourself relevant, you have to build a sustainable, a strong foundation of football. For me, I don't have a problem if Cameroon doesn't go to the World Cup. Where I'll have a problem is that if we don't learn from these mistakes. We never learned from these mistakes. 2018, we missed World Cup. 2006, we missed the World Cup with one of the best players. So it's not only about the players, my dear people. It's not only about the players. Look at the game today. Look at our lineup. Look at the back. Let me pull up the lineup and let me just give you guys, tactics wise, why that team. And I cannot blame the players because there's a fundamental, football house fundamentals. If you're trying to play a certain style of play, you need players on the pitch with abilities. If you are trying to play with Eta Eyong, who is a poacher, who lives on service, even Abubakar, we have been complaining about Abubakar. We have been complaining about Magri. You can see that Eta Eyong is a fighter. He wants to fight. He wants to play. However, they are not getting the service just because our right and left backs cannot actually cross. And if you're playing in the 4-3-3, where the right and left back also have to come and help, or maybe the midfielders, he's not actually getting the balls in the box. Chochua cannot cross the ball. We have the other kid on the left-hand side. He did not have a single cross in the 2 games that he has actually played. Even Kudu, his crosses were poor. But these are players that have the minimum. If you look at the opposition team, We have individuals on the pitch. We don't have a team. We have a collection of players. Look at Buemo. And then I don't only want to stop at that. We claim to be a powerhouse in football. 4 years ago, 5 years ago, when Cameroon was building all those big stadiums, I told you guys that was not necessary. Today, look at the pitch. Look at where we were playing. Okay, yes, let's say Cameroon was not good. But also look at Angola. At some point, they could not pass the ball because the pitch was poor. How can you be a top football nation? You cannot maintain a playing surface. And we call ourselves a top football nation. How do we expect to grow? These are things that need to be fixed. We need people with vision. Football is a business, it's also entertainment, which means you have to put some thought into it. Football is a science. You have to beat the data in order to have the right information from the data. Cameroon is not doing that. We went to World Cup in Qatar through a playoff system. Yet we're talking as if Cameroon is still that nation. Look at Baleba. The last two games, he struggled. He has struggled. Can you blame him? Even look at the atmosphere in Fandena. The 12th man was not present. We've lost our mojo. We've lost our football culture. And unless we do admit it, go back to the drawing board, we won't get better. Yes, I know when I say that, some people start calling names. That Eto wanted to do this, or that the minister did this, and all that. No, everybody has to work and look into the same direction. If that does not happen, football will not change in Cameroon. Take examples. Look at Morocco. Morocco is going to the under 20 World Cup semifinals. Morocco went to the semifinals of the World Cup in Qatar. Morocco has already qualified for World Cup next year. Morocco will be hosting African Cup of Nations. Morocco, their clubs went to the FIFA Club World Cup and made at least 14 million US dollars. More money. More money. You know, when you invest, these things actually come to you. Cameroon tried to build their own Clairefontaine. Follow examples from Morocco. How many footballers have come out of that structure? You know, we don't go deep. We don't take time to learn from our mistakes. A major issue. I mean, look at the team today. Baleba, of all people, could not put a pass together. Our movement is poor. The press of the players is poor. In order to win balls up and create opportunities, you have to press as a team. Go look at the movement of all the games that Cameroon has played, except at the beginning of 2 years ago, at the beginning of this tournament. That's when Mark Grace came. He came with no energy, and Cameroon was playing, beating Cape Verde 4-1 here and there. But as I said, the last 3 games in these qualifiers has just been one bad game after the other. One bad game after the other. Decision making of players, very poor. You might ask yourself, why was Cameroon playing this poor? But now, I mean, it does happen because teams now prepare for you. They've seen the way Mark Grace actually plays, and now they can prepare. Cameroon cannot pass the ball from back into the midfield and knock the ball around because teams are now pressing them. So they are going ugly, long balls. That's all they know. And I said this when they beat Mauritius with 2 lucky long balls. I said when you play a better team, that won't work. And that's what happened today. against Angola. There was no instance where you thought, okay, maybe the 5, 10 minutes of the second half. But apart from that, there was no instance where you looked at Cameroon, the team as a whole, and said, oh yeah, this team is actually building something. A goal is coming. I hear some people saying that Angola is a well-organized team. Okay. Cape Verde, you see what Cape Verde did? They won 3-0. Those are teams that have been exposed, that have organized their football, with odd organizations. I mean, different level of the organizations, everybody working and looking into one direction. Football needs to be prepared. The victories of tomorrow needs to be prepared today. It's not by chance. Everybody is now exposed. Most countries have actually caught up. You see, and the funniest thing is that if you look at Cameroon now, there are 10 teams actually going to the World Cup. Okay, of course, 9, maybe 10. Of course, as Jerome says, it's a systematical issue. There is no accountability. Of course, it's a Hollywood passes. It doesn't show anything serious. Of course, Morocco puts in the work. I want to reap. Yeah, okay. We want to reap where we didn't sow. Okay. Of course, I do agree with you. We will not make it into the World Cup. Even if we do make it, what culture shall we be showcasing when we make it to the World Cup? Needless to say, our local league is non-existent. The only time we have highlights in football is when the national team is playing. I can understand the fans at this moment because fans are not excited. You guys know what is going on in the nation. So fans are not excited. Look at how cold Fandena was. As a kid growing up, that was easily 60, 70,000 people coming to watch football. The current state of our national team is a reflection of the society we actually live in. Everything is broken. Look at the pitch. I mean, most of our players play in beautiful pitches, beautiful stadium across the world. 5 years ago, we got good structures. But logically, where are the pitches? Those things are maintained. We know nothing about maintenance. Where are the pitches? Logically, that was a potato farm in Yaoundé. That was a potato farm. Let's go back to the players. Okay, as I said, Baleba, Mvom. We saw Angisa during scattered moments in the second half. But can you recall any play in the game that bombs that said Cameroon? Oh yeah, Cameroon actually needs to go to the World Cup. Look at what we were doing when Onana had the ball. He was always trying to go long. Always trying to go long. Unsuccessful. Our defenders, how good are they? With the ball at their feet, how good are they? With the ball, their decision making. What? I remember at one point I was following some comments of my friend, Moma. He says Cameroon doesn't even look like they have a 40 million US dollars player. He's talking about the value. He looked at their style of play, I mean, how they were playing, and he gave the valuation. Mark Brees was flat-footed. I mean, at this point, we can even go to the African Cup of Nations without a coach. It doesn't really matter. Because this is just poor leadership. And this keeps happening because we have not taken time, we have not taken accountability and said our football need better structures. our football need better processes. We need more organization because everything starts at the grassroots level. I had a show where we talk about these things, and I'm sharing it. Still, it's on my Facebook, it's on my YouTube channel. You know, you guys can go check it out. I had a panel. We talked about a lot of stuff in this aspect. As far as growing our leagues, growing our football, having better football academies, having a better league. The panel I had, we there were some amazing guys on that panel, and they talked a lot because football, okay, it's a culture. You have teams that like to play defensive, attacking, compact, spread out. There are many different tactical approaches in the game. And these teams, these countries use data, study data in order to outsmart opponents. There's one thing that's consistent when you see Cameroon play: poor passes, bad movement, bad press. If Angola was sharp today, Angola could have beaten Cameroon. Because when we climb, especially in corner kicks and all that, we throw people up front. And then our defense is not disciplined. On 2, 3 occasions, Angola exploited us. That's how Cape Verde scored us that goal in Cape Verde. With Baliba, sometimes when he's on the ball, there are no options. There's no triangle. There are no passing lanes. No one is moving, poor movement. No one knows where to stand and all that. So because of that confusion, it's easy for the opposing team to read you or to defend against you and hit you on the counter attack. We saw Angola strike the ball twice. Of course, we had 2, 3 opportunities too, but we're very, very lucky because Angola could have been in Cameroon. So, in my opinion, we actually need to sit down. I mean, people who have the vision, because it will take not only the federation, it will take not only the ministry, it will take everybody at large, supported by strong institutions. That's why we need change in Cameroon. That's why we need change in Cameroon in order for us to go back. And it also takes patience because you cannot build something sustainable if you don't have time, if you don't have patience, if you don't try and fail, try again. You cannot build anything sustainable. Okay, we have sporadic talent coming out from Cameroon, and then we say, oh, yeah, the talent is looking good. No, we need consistency. That's what Cameroon lacks. Okay, we need little pitches all over the regions so that all our talented kids can be playing. We need football in schools. Yes, we need football in schools because these scattered football schools that we do have are actually building kids or players for the European market and for other markets, Asian markets, and stuff like that. It's not helping us. We need a system that would build kids or build footballers for our own leagues. Yes. And the reason why we need to go into schools and build these footballers is because the kids that are in these schools, the intelligent kids with high IQ, you know, well, anyway, we can talk over and over, but let's change our mentalities. Thanks for watching.